Uncle, it looks like the plane you're going to take with that lady is going to catch fire. You better not get on that plane. Startled by Reese's sudden statement, both me and my husband exclaimed in surprise. What? Our voices filled with astonishment, especially me. I was shocked for more than one reason. Thinking about it, the reason quickly became clear. Unforgivable. The thought of him betraying me, going on a trip for an affair? Despite the warning to better not get on that plane, Lex headed to the airport. So I decided to start my own revenge drama. My name is Ashlyn, a homemaker in my 30s. I live with my husband, Lex. We are a dual income couple and often away from home, but on our days off, we usually relax at home. However, Lex has been acting a bit strange lately. His return home has become much later than before. On weekends, he often leaves. It's for work. He started to be away for days on business trips. I couldn't help but find Lex's situation suspicious. But there was no definitive proof, and I was afraid to point out Lex's actions and unnecessarily cause trouble. So today, like always, I turn a blind eye to Lex's selfish behavior and somehow maintain our marriage. Then one day, a little guest visited our house. It was Reese, my brother's daughter, my niece. My brother and his family live nearby, and we often eat together or go shopping, maintaining a close relationship. I have watched over Reese since she was a baby, often went to my brother's house to hold her, so Reese is very attached to me. One day, my brother and his wife couldn't manage, and as I was off from work, Reese came over to spend the day with me. Auntie, let's play. You know, I want to play with dolls. As soon as she saw me, her face lit up with a smile, begging to play. She was adorable. Then I'm counting on you today. I'll leave it to me. I'll call if anything comes up. After I said that, my brother smiled relieved. Then I took Reese home and spent a fulfilling time playing with dolls, baking with the ingredients I had prepared, and more. In the middle of this, the door opened. Stop the noise. What's all the fuss about? It's my day off and now I'm awake. Lex emerged from his room, grumbling these words. Not realizing Reese was there, he glared at me and let out a heavy sigh. You're just too clumsy, you know. If a husband's resting at home, shouldn't a wife try to keep things quiet to let him relax, not even managing that small courtesy? You're really failing as a wife. I'm sorry for the noise, but I did tell you before that Reese was coming over today, right? I even mentioned it might get noisy. Don't argue back. When I tried to defend myself, Lex shouted angrily. Startled by his loud voice, I quickly noticed Reese, who was making sweets, looked like she was about to cry. My priority shifted to getting Lex out of there. Even as Lex hurled cruel words, I just said, I'm sorry, and kept apologizing. I thought any more anger from Rex would only scare Reese more. Eventually, Lex seemed satisfied and said, I'm going to wash my face, and disappeared into the bathroom. Feeling relieved, I apologized to Reese. Sorry about that. To which she bravely said, It's okay. And she shook her head. Uncle's going to fall down. As Lex went to the bathroom, Reese suddenly said this. When you say usual? I asked, and Reese nodded. Reese has always said strange things about people she's close to or sees often. She would make predictions like she could see the future. At first, I thought it was just a child's play. Is that so? And I would casually respond, but after several incidents where Reese's predictions came true, I believed the child can see something special. So doubting Reese's words was out of the question. I nodded saying, is that so? And a few minutes later, a loud noise came from the bathroom. Ouch! A voice filled with anger from Lex could be heard. Again, Reese's prediction had come true. Lex returned from the bathroom, his face red, and started hurling more harsh words at me. You could have cleaned the bathroom properly. Because of you, I fell down. Lex blamed me, but I'm not the one to neglect cleaning. The bathroom is always kept clean. It was clearly Lex's carelessness, and him blaming me was intolerable. I always keep it clean. It's your carelessness. Please don't blame me. Don't make excuses. It's your fault, so apologize properly. His unreasonable words left me astounded. Even though it's all his own doing, he blames me, forcing me to apologize, using me to vent his frustrations. He can't even control his own emotions. Lex, acting like a small child, makes me sigh. When we first got married, Lex wasn't this selfish. He was more considerate of others. But as time went by, he showed his true colors, a person who doesn't really care about anyone else. Just a month into our marriage, I was forced into a life of serving Lex. I was not allowed to argue back, no matter how much I didn't want to do what he asked, and I couldn't complain. This was the rule imposed of me. If I asked whether this unreasonable situation made me angry, I couldn't honestly nod in agreement. But I feared making things worse with Lex, causing more trouble in our marriage. About a week after Risa's visit, Lex had another business trip coming up. It was his third trip this month, and this time he would be away for about a week. While helping him pack, his mobile phone rang. It was a call from my brother's phone. Worried, I excused myself from Lex and answered. It was Reese, probably borrowing my brother's phone. Reese sounded panicked on the other end. "Stay calm," I said, trying to listen. "Uncle's plane, the one he's taking with the lady, is going to catch fire. He shouldn't get on that plane." I was shocked for two reasons. Reese's prediction about the plane and the fact that Lex was boarding a plane with another woman despite being on a business trip. Taking a plane with another woman on a business trip is unbelievable. What does that mean? Confused, I told Lex about Reese's call and her advice. "It might be better not to take the plane," I said, but Lex scoffed. "I am not obligated to entertain a kid's play. Today's trip is settled. There is no way I'm not going." And he left the house. He'll probably head straight to the airport. Reese's predictions have never been wrong. This time won't be an exception, and Lex will likely face something terrible. As his wife, I should probably tell him to turn back, but more than that, why is he taking a plane with another woman? I was terribly worried about this. I needed to uncover the reason behind this. So I decided not to stop Lex and to watch how things unfold, ready to start my revenge drama whenever necessary. After some time relaxing at home, the word breaking news flashed on the TV I had left on. Curious, I looked and saw that a plane which had just left the US had crashed. A bad feeling washed over me, and upon checking, it turned out to be the plane Lex was on. The TV showed the burning plane, possibly ignited by gasoline. Was this what Reese was talking about? As I was trying to make sense of it all, I got a call from the rescue team. Lex was rushed to the hospital and was in critical condition. They also asked about a woman accompanying Lex, a hostess in her 20s, who sadly died immediately after the accident. The rescue team, unable to contact her family, had reached out to me. I had no information about her and expressed my regret. The rescue team member said, "Thank you for your cooperation," and then hung up the phone. The life-saving efforts were probably still ongoing. I felt terrible for all those involved in the accident. Lex was taken to the ICU, and given his critical condition, even family members couldn't visit until he stabilized. I should have been distraught, but I had things to do, so it was convenient. I informed Lex's parents and my relatives about the accident. His mother, particularly shocked, broke down crying over the phone, which was honestly heart-wrenching, but my desire for revenge wasn't satisfied yet. I felt I had to make him regret surviving, to drop him into a deeper hell. I couldn't forgive Lex, who treated me like a servant while indulging in affairs and infidelity. A few days later, the hospital called to say Lex had regained consciousness. His condition was improving, and he was soon moved to a general ward. Resolved, I decided to visit him. When I went to the hospital and mentioned Lex's name, "The one from that accident?" I was looked upon with pity by the nurse. Since then, I have been following the news regularly. It seems that crash was a major disaster with many lives lost. In the midst of it all, I sensed a remarkable will to live in Lex, who had narrowly escaped death. Guided by a nurse, I entered his room to find him asleep, connected to numerous IV drips. According to the nurse, he has been diligently doing rehabilitation every day, and after it's over, he falls asleep like this, exhausted. I had a chance to talk with Lex's doctor while he was asleep. The doctor explained that Lex had suffered severe burns all over his body during the accident and had also damaged his spine, resulting in the loss of sensation in his lower body. They said that no matter what treatment is done, the sensation in his lower body will not return. He can no longer walk, stand, or even go to the toilet on his own. He's now undergoing rehabilitation to learn how to manage a wheelchair and somehow carry on with daily life. When Lex learned that he would never regain the sensation in his lower body, he looked utterly despairing about the future. I had never seen Lex take anything seriously before, not his job, social life, or a relationship, but hearing he was working hard on rehabilitation, I thought it might be a mistake. Lex had a lot of pride, and he probably couldn't accept a life dependent on me. Now burdened with these after effects, Lex has no choice but to rely on others no matter how hard he tries. But even understanding this, his stubborn refusal to rely on me made me smile inadvertently. The doctor provided me with information on home renovations, moving to a barrier-free house, and how to manage life with Lex's after effects. The more I read, the more I realized how challenging and complex Lex's condition was, and I felt a slight pity for him. But this situation was a result of his own actions. If he had heeded Reese's words and canceled the trip, all this could have been avoided. It wasn't even work-related. Prioritizing his life would have been the sensible choice. Then the woman he was with might not have lost her life. Due to Lex's misjudgment, a life was lost. And he is now burdened with severe consequences. I have come to painfully realize how important it is to trust and accept others' words. I'm grateful that I've always believed in Reese and listened to her, thinking I should thank Reese later. Lex groaned as he woke up.
Ashlyn? Is that you, Ashlyn? You came?
Seeing me, Lex smiled with relief and continued speaking.
I've been lonely since you haven't visited much. Thank you for coming. I can't offer you anything, but please stay for a while.
This was a completely different attitude from the Lex who belittled me and treated me like a servant. I almost thought he lost his memory after the accident, but Lex's next words snapped me back to reality.
Did the doctor tell you my lower body is paralyzed? The hospital life is hell. I can't even take care of myself without a nurse's help. Being touched by complete strangers is unbearable. I would much prefer you. I want to get out of here and go home as soon as possible.
Lex's pride made him despise even the necessary nursing care. I felt it was incredibly insensitive of him to say such things about the nurses who were helping him. Lex continued with his self-centered words.
I know I'm like this, but with you, I feel I can keep living. So let's support each other as a couple from now on.
Support each other? As far as I remember, we never supported each other as a couple. Lex always left home matters to me and went out on his own. I overlooked it, thinking it was due to work, but infidelity is a different story. It's a betrayal. The more I spoke with Lex, the more anger rose within me. I was overwhelmed with the feeling that I shouldn't forgive this man, and instinctively I felt I had to bring him down completely to make sure he would never be so arrogant again. Oblivious to my thoughts,
maybe we should move.
Or
living with my parents might be a good idea.
Lex was still dreaming, so I decided to wake him up to reality. Sorry, but I have no intention of taking care of you. Lex was shocked by my statement.
What?
He said, and trembling with shock, he began to desperately plead.
Don't joke like that. I truly believed he would accept me, help me. Hearing such a joke hurts.
It's no joke. Let's get a divorce. I can't stand the thought of being your wife after the way you've treated me and your infidelity, let alone take care of you. Lex then started to panic.
But that's too harsh, isn't it? Look at me. I'm paralyzed. I can't live alone like this. I need you. Please don't abandon me. You're my only hope.
Tears welled up in Lex's eyes, showing he was serious about trying to keep me by his side. Lex had never seriously faced me before. Instead, when I tried to engage, he would dismiss it as troublesome and avoid any meaningful discussions as a couple. Now he was asking for a talk and trying to ensure his self-preservation, but this wasn't for my sake or to work on our marriage. It was merely Lex's selfish desire to continue living comfortably, expecting me to remain his servant. There was no obligation on my part to comply with his whims, and doing so would bring me no benefit. The old me, who loved Lex despite his flaws and wanted to work on our marriage, might have listened and struggled with his words. Perhaps now, by accepting Lex, we could lead a slightly better life than before, though not as a truly supportive couple. Lex, with his high self-esteem, would probably find work and try to support himself even in the state. If there was a chance to start over, it was now. Otherwise, That opportunity might never come again. Cutting Lex off would mean the end of our relationship. He would lose his support and likely suffer. If I abandoned him now, I might be leaving a person to struggle alone. It was a significant decision, both as a person and as Lex's wife. However, I had no intention of going back. My love had faded, and my trust in Lex was gone. Accepting him now might mean a short period of decent communication and a semblance of marital life. But I was tired of being treated as a servant for so long. I couldn't bear the thought of doing more for Lex.
But please, reconsider. I can't do anything without you. Look at me. I can't even walk or stand. Don't leave me alone like this.
Lex's tone was desperate, understanding that losing me now meant his end. He was frantically trying to keep me there, but I had made up my mind. I'm sorry. I can't continue with you. Please give up, I said, standing up to leave. Lex tried to stop me.
Wait, let's talk.
But I left the room without listening to him. Soon after, our divorce was finalized. A mutual acquaintance of Lex and me who happened to know about Lex's affair learned about his accident and testified in court, which helped the case move in my favor. Lex pleaded until the end, crying,
I don't want to separate.
But I was so repulsed by him that I felt only disgust and didn't listen to any of his words. Though not a large amount, I was able to claim a considerable sum in compensation. However, after the accident, Lex quit his job and switched to a company that hires people with disabilities, leading to a significant reduction in his salary. His current income is barely enough to cover the compensation payments, and he's struggling to maintain a decent living. My former in-laws, upon discovering the affair, disowned Lex, leaving him wheelchair-bound and alone. I hope he manages to live strongly on his own from now on. As for me, post-divorce, I'm living a relatively happy life. My brother and his wife, concerned about me being suddenly single, often visit with Reese, sparing me any loneliness. Auntie, let's play! Reese's words were the catalyst that woke me up. I am so grateful to her and want to continue being a dependable aunt.